In this short video, you will learn how to sell anything. When I say anything, I mean anything. And why do I say that you can sell anything after this video? Because you will understand the 3 concepts about sales and how to actually sell. Of course, there are things that are harder to sell, but the principles are the same everywhere around. So there are 3 pillars that you have to do to master sales. So first and foremost, you have to master conviction. If you master conviction, you will be able to sell most anything, because even scam artists are able to sell because of their convictions. Then we will talk about frame and pain and desire. So these are the 3 pillars of a good sale. If you have conviction, if you attain or attack the pain or the desire of the client or the customer, and you frame the conversation in such a way that you look like the expert and the solution to the pain and desire. So we're gonna go through every single one of them, and we will go through the easiest one for you to understand until the hardest one for you to understand. So you have to master in these formats, this and this, right? Because what happens is, if you're able to know the pains and the desires of your customer, you will easily attack them emotionally. But if you have more conviction about them, you will be able to sell them more easily. And if you frame the conversation in such a way that it's precise, that it's elegant, that it's sophisticated, you will make a sale. So it's a really powerful way for you to understand sales in general. Let's break it down. People buy for 2 things and 2 things only. They desire something, or they are in pain. They are running away from X, or they are running towards X. Okay? More people will run away from X than run towards X. So if you are telling someone, take this pill to cure your headache, this is going to be much more effective than you trying to say, use this pill to have more mental bandwidth. Which, for example, for an entrepreneur, it will be interesting, but it's harder for you to sell this. It's harder to sell a nootropic than sell a pill that relieves headaches. Then another one is, okay, that is why, for example, a lot of people say, like, save 50% in this item. The word save is super important here, because you're basically telling them that you will not have the pain of spending all your hard-earned money to get the product. Whereas here is like, get the newest iPhone. People desire what's new, they desire what's trendy, they desire what's currently in vogue. And that's the most important thing. It's you're able to distinguish where are people coming from with your product. So for example, you are a relationship coach. You can do in both ways. You can say like how to, or your program or an offer or anything it can be, you will be able to escape your single life. Escape your single life. So when you're escaping your single life, that is indeed a really powerful way of pain, because they have the pain of staying alone and single forever. Versus the desire is get the love you crave. Or it can be deeper and better with your partner. Okay? So those are the 2 levels. If you act on pain, you will get more eyeballs and it will prompt more people to buy your product. So when you're actually buying or when you're actually selling your product, you have to talk about these 2 things. You have to talk about what do people desire and what are people in pain of. They don't really care about the benefits. They don't really care about the features, of the features of your product. They don't really care about those levels of things. They care about what will they receive. And what will they receive? They will receive what they desire, or they will be alleviated of their own pain. Those are the two things that you have to focus on, okay? So now we will talk about conviction. And conviction is super, super important because sales is nothing more than a battle of conviction. And this is the thing, is you have to believe more than your product will help the client more than they think it will help them. Why? Because it's a transfer of energy. It's a battle of conviction, it's a transfer of energy. You have a high energy and they are coming here, right? And you have to bring more energy, okay? And imagine this is, I'm just inventing this right now, but imagine the sale is like this. This is the ball of sales, okay? This is your product. Your product must go down and then go over their mountain of doubt, okay? So your mountain of conviction, this is so good. Oh! Your mountain of conviction must be higher than their mountain of doubt, right? So for example, if you believe your coaching program is kind of good, it's a little bit good, it's going to help someone, but it's not going to help everyone, it's not going to change their lives, your mountain is going to be this level, and their doubt is going to be this level. And depending on the conversation and how it goes around, and you show the level of conviction, their mountain will go higher and higher and higher. So anytime you've done a sale, if it's not because of money, because we're going to talk about money just a bit, but if we don't talk about money, if your level of conviction is less, if your mountain of conviction is less than the mountain of doubt that they have, the ball will not roll over. Simple as that. And you will ask me, Astro, how do you raise your conviction? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first thing is know, love, and trust your product. The best salespeople learn about their product, understand their product, learn why it's different, why it's better than the competition, and why it actually works, right? That's why actually I'm not so worried about scam artists and other people like that and competition, because what happens is when I focus on my product, when I focus here and I make it better and I try my best and I do what's required, not what's necessary, what's required for this to be on a level where I am happy to charge $3,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, right? Where I feel that I would pay for my own product this amount or these levels of prices, I have the conviction enough to say, when they are trying to haggle me down, I can stand firm and say, look, this is what it's cost. We can do it in payment plans. We can do whatever, but this is the price. And the reason why you are not charging enough is because you don't believe it. You don't believe your systems can actually be so valuable. So if you want to increase your sales, if you want to increase your pricing, you make your product better. And you have to actually believe it. That's one way of increasing conviction. You have to also think in terms of, okay, I want to describe the product to a 5-year-old. So if I was to explain my offer, which is, so if I want to say omni-channel approach, social media done for you services for a 5-year-old, I would say I edit or I make cool videos for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So that is a simple way of saying the omni-channel approach of social media content. So cool videos, and I could say and photos. If you're not able to explain easily what your product is, you will have less conviction because you don't really understand it. And it's weird because you can create a product and you don't even understand it, and I've done it myself, so no worries about it. That is the second level of sales. If you have conviction, you will make more sales. And now let's talk about framing, okay? For example, I'm gonna do, let's say Jake, which is this guy, it has Rasta, it smokes, it's a hippie, right? He comes to you and he says, yo, my bro, I got these cookies. and I baked them myself. They are like super cool. They are the best flavor ever, and they have a special something. So you will immediately know that these, and if you see his face, you will know that these cookies are legit, right? Because the frame of reference is that he looks like a stoner, and he's actually selling you something that he knows about, and the framing which he's selling you, it's interesting, right? But what if we replaced the cookies? Wait, I'm an artist, I should draw better hands like this. There you go. Okay, he has some fat hands. So what if he's trying to sell you a computer, right? If he's trying to sell you a computer and he goes like, yo, I got this awesome computer, I made it myself, it has the best quality, the best technique, it has the best elements inside, you will not believe him. You will not buy a computer from a hippie. Why? Unless you're Steve Jobs, right? But Steve Jobs were buying, like, he was dressing up, he was trying to do all these things. He was not dirty, he was not trying to sell you something in a space where the frame wasn't correct. So the frame comes around into how you present yourself, how you present the conversation, and where you position yourself in terms even in the conviction mountain. Because you might have conviction, but you have to show that you have a higher conviction than the other person. And conviction also goes through the eyes, through the feeling, through the emotions, from your stance, from everything that you're talking about. The reason why you're paying attention to me right now is because I have more conviction than you in this video. So, how do you frame the conversation, okay? How do you frame the conversation? You have to talk in two elements. You have to talk in terms of authority, in being the authority and being relatable, okay? How do you do these two things, okay? The authority, you will tell them the features, you will tell them certain benefits of how it works, how your thing works. You will share your credentials. If you're talking about relationships, please don't go super dark and crying, right? So appearance. These are the things that will create the bias of authority. So that is the bias of authority. And now what is the bias of, what is the frame of the authority and what is the frame of relatability? It means testimonials, listening, and acknowledging. So when you're selling something, you don't necessarily agree with your potential client. What you do is you acknowledge what they're saying, so you can repeat what they're saying. I totally see where you could be understanding this program in this way, but this is actually what happens, and this is the way that it's going to frame, and it's going to be better for you. Because when you say no, you are wrong, or when you contradict your client, immediately you will lose the frame of relatability. And if you're an authority will push sell someone, right, into a sale, but they won't necessarily get recurrent sales, or they won't necessarily get referrals, because people hate hard salesmen. And they don't like sleeky salesmen that they want to like share all these things. So I would leave it there. These are the three pillars. Again, like, you have to frame it correctly. You have to share conviction. You also have to attack the pain and the desires. So coming back to this, again, conviction, desire, and frame. If you're able to understand these three levels of a sale, the rest is actually more about the techniques and optimizing all the little details. But this is the core principles of sales. So if you practice sales, and the more you get into sales calls, the more you understand these things and the back end behind all of this, you'll be able to make more sales. And this has led me to make more than $150,000 this year. I've gotten into about 10 sales calls, and most of the calls I get into are and end up in a client. So it's because I have conviction of my products. I know what people are looking for and what they are running from, and I know how to frame the conversation in such a way where I show my testimonials, I show that I acknowledge them, and I show what I'm willing to do for them, so they see my big mountain of conviction versus their mountain of doubt. And with that, you'll be able to sell. Subscribe if you found value out of this. Comment below what was your biggest takeaway, and make sure that you share this to someone else who wants to become better at sales. Again, this is for coaches, but also for everyone or anyone who wants to sell more online or in person. I use these same techniques where I was selling in food fairs. I use the same techniques or frameworks when I'm selling online or where I was selling clothes outside. So this is useful, and try to use it yourself. Let me know how it goes. Thank you.